Okay, yes, this is me with some of my OCD. Um, I still have continuing. I wouldn't say they're self-abuse habits, but they because they're not really extremely injurious. They are habits that um, are remnants, I guess, of what could be injurious. Like I never um, cut or uh, hunch things, but I was a picker, and the picking did classify as self harm. You know, touching something over and over um, that was like rough or like a skin scab or whatever. I won't get too into it, but some of the remnants I have left, and I've overcome sometimes for vast periods of time. But I touch my eyebrow too much, pull my eyebrows out sometimes, and it's like a not really ruminating. It's I used to ruminate a lot. It's a processing. I'm processing something. I'm trying to process something, and I realized the other day that I do it. You know, while I'm processing, I got to stop this behavior. I realized that in the processing, it is a distraction. The actual touching behavior of, for example, eyebrow picking or scab picking. Scab picking can be um, painful, though. That's the difference. The eyebrow picking is not painful. So it's like within the spectrum of self abuse, and if infrared was really the intense and ultraviolet, I'm in the ultraviolet area with this. Still on the spectrum, but ultraviolet side of it, um, which is still means that it's present. Look at this, Christmas presents. It's past Valentine's Day, and they still have to be delivered to the unloved ones. It seems like I only give presents to people that I don't have much of a relationship with because the relationship has fallen out or we just don't see each other. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's not true for everybody. There's within this mix there are relatives that are dear that I don't really engage with too much because there could be controversy. They're close but not close, and then there are the ones that are not close at all, but it's an effort. So it's past Valentine's Day and the Christmas presents are still not delivered. Um, so what I was saying, I inspect like all these YouTube. Look at this. I haven't changed. I forgot to wash my hair last night. I went to bed at 3 in the morning, and I forgot. Before I went to bed, I shower. I'm a night shower. So hopefully there is sound with this. I always have to change the settings. It's like, do you want internal mic or the USB-I mic? And I'm like, internal. I guess internal is it's within the computer. I don't have to set up anything else. So I left off the last, and I also when you're in a relationship with someone that has had undiagnosed BPD for so long, the person that is the non-BPD or has been trained, and I have been very well trained, much to my demise. And I say demise, circling back to the idea that we have to take care of ourselves, and that one can experience sickness and even death. I'm saying that not loosely, okay? I'm saying it because I did get cancer. I would say, what was it? I'm a Hodgkin's lymphoma survivor. That is, let me see, we got together in 96. 12 years into our relationship, I came down with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So, and I completely attribute it to my relationship and the stress that I was under. And now, even though I'm about 12 years out, the only thing that I was able to do, because the situation around me really didn't change, I was still and am still deprived, unhappy, unsatisfied, and in a state of profound despair because of this type of neglect, this emotional connection neglect um, that does not exist in the relationship. Um, the, the the emotions that need to be there do not exist. So that's the state of emotional neglect. But I have been able to. This is bullshit. I have been able to change my perspective, and of course, with the diagnosis, which came about uh, 8 years after my cancer diagnosis. So, I got through the cancer and then was able to continue to exist within the relationship, but the stress was pretty much the same. But slowly, I was able to change my perspective for myself, to not endure what I was enduring, to take breaks from myself, not involve myself in um, in my own personal stress that I was creating for myself, um, kind of outside of the relationship. I'm a type A person. I'm driven, but I spin my wheels a lot. So anyway, um, tangenting over here, big time ridiculousness. But hopefully you can glean some of these concepts from me. But I wanted to, okay, that was one circle back. The other circle back was from the last conversation, excuse me, was the idea of, a good interpersonal effectiveness is when both people are benefiting. There was one concept, and like I said, I've been very well trained with by my BPD spouse, that as far as having to over explain myself and talk about what exactly do I mean, because I've been so manipulated with my own words that, with the deflecting and the distracting and what I really mean and what I don't mean. And, what I wanted to say was, if I am speaking to someone that comes across this channel, that it's not for the BPD person, okay, it is for the non-BPD, is that, but if this is for a BPD person that has stumbled upon this channel that has like no views and nobody gives a shit, because that's how I feel like in my life. Nobody feels your pain, and nobody gives a shit about your pain, and people just want to deal with their own pain. And the nice people that actually give a shit, which are the therapists that sometimes cost a lot of money and it's a pain in the ass to go to, and even if you get a good one, it's still an effort and ordeal on the part of the person that is severely in need. So now my point, if I could ever get to it, and hopefully I don't forget it. Yes, the benefiting of the both people. So this is for a BPD here that has, if indeed you've stumbled across my channel, okay, and the idea of interpersonal effectiveness and both people benefiting, one needs to understand that it's the both people benefiting is not, the value on it is not placed on the one person. Like, one cannot say to another, I'm benefiting from this and you are too. Okay? That's not how it works. I know it's not like I'm benefiting. Well, you're benefiting from this too. You are not, you're gaining something from this. This is my point, is that attitude and that person is in no position to quantify and qualify how another person is benefiting. What you want with interpersonal effectiveness is the interchange to go like this: I'm benefiting from this. And what you want to hear from the other person from their own mouth is that they are benefiting from it, from the interchange, from whatever it is. It's not that one person assumes and declares and deduces that another person is benefiting from the interchange. Both people independently offer that they are benefiting. That's how you know that that the if the interpersonal interchange has been effective. And that's it. See, it took me 10 minutes to get to this point. But these are uh, my what's the word? Assessments and and thought processes on these concepts that unfucking fortunately have late in my life, like ridiculously late. I'm from the generation, or not even generation, but I'm part of that group that has fallen through the cracks. And I don't know if it's because of a generational thing, like what era did I grow up in? Because gosh darn it, I was in therapy when I was 14 for anorexia, and there was something going on there for me in that realm, that it was presented, and I was always for therapy. So how did another 25 years of my life go by that this information hadn't crossed my way? It's like, unfortunately, these personality disorder informations fell through the cracks. And I even have a degree in psychology. I went through abnormal psychology, but I took those classes, and they were hard. They weren't easy for me. I guess I was so consumed, even at the time that I was in college, so subject. I was ensnared and within that world of my own personal difficulties with my own family, because I was still living at home with my extremely dysfunctional, abusive, and destructive family, that even when I was going to school to study this stuff, I didn't realize, hey, this is what's going on at the home. And that's how unobjective I was, I guess. I was reflective. I mean, gosh darn, I had so much time on my own in my own room, and writing poetry and all that, and writing and just trying to live. It's just such a struggle. And this will be controversial, but the idea of the concept of affirmative action and how it is like institutionalized in our society, it's got its good points, but when I think of the words affirmative and action, when people that grow up in an abusive situation, nothing is affirmative there. I mean, these are the underserved people. The underserved people are ones that have had no positivity growing up in their lives, and then they are behind in life because of the non-affirmation and validation in their lives. These are the people that need to be served, regardless of what their financial state and ethnic origin. I mean, really. I mean, it's but I think it's changing. I was at a meeting the other day, and they're changing the names of these designations. Like the EEOC committee is now changing to inclusion and diversity. Yeah, it's like it's just the point. I mean, like, what is this? It's there's titles to these things, but they're not palatable anymore. And I think it's there's shifts in titles because there is novel novel assessments of designations going on. I mean, I was just watching something, PTSD versus borderline personality disorder. It's new development in the designations of what things are. And yeah, as far as the PTSD and the PTSD and borderline, I think that's because people are so sensitive to be calling borderline, F it. A diagnosis of that nature is like the best thing that can happen to somebody. I mean, I haven't been diagnosed by these pissant people for, these free, even Will Cornell Presbyterian free therapy over there. People don't want to diagnose. I know I got something. I can't be, this late in life, and still struggling in the way I was 20 years ago without actually having an issue myself. It's like, what is the reality here? I don't fit many of the criteria for BPD or PT. I took a test at one of the places, and they said I don't have PTSD. I entered a study. I got paid $50 for like showing up twice, and they say even though I had traumatic experience, it was determined that I did experience trauma and even continual trauma in my upbringing. They said I did not develop PTSD, and that was the study. There was a study between people that develop PTSD that have had traumatic experiences and people that do not develop PTSD that have. Did I say that? Whatever. Did I say that twice? People that develop it and people do not develop it. But both parties have experienced trauma. So I was put in the area. So I'm not like, I was put on the area. Let me finish my thought. Not like you're stopping me. I'm stopping myself. Where I did not develop these things. I mean, so what is it? What is it that, that prevents me from having had the eye opening, or the eyes opened as wide as they should have been for myself? So there is something I know with me, but I'm not categorizable enough, So what do they say? They say traits. They say you have traits, not classifying criteria. So that's like that vague little gray thing. So I don't, for BPD, since this is the topic, that whole what they say in school when doctors are learning, they think they have the thing that they're studying. I forget what it's called. It's a term that they think they have what they're studying. I'm just focusing on that because I'm so enmeshed with my partner that does definitely have it, and I don't. But I can see. I mean, I don't have impulsiveness. I don't have rage. I don't have self harm. But I did mention that I'm ultraviolet over there. And some of the other things, those 9 criteria. But there are little things in there that, yeah, that happens to me, that I do this, I do that. And then there's the overall turning what was it within me that drove me to turn that love turns a blind eye kind of thing. Okay, I went on for another 8 minutes. But I'll talk to you again. Same outfit, same hair. I did do a couple things. It's not like I'm just sitting here and not doing anything. I do a lot. So I'll talk to you later. Yes, and